This is just a quick demonstration on a couple different ways that you can connect Liquibase to your always free Oracle Autonomous database in the Oracle Cloud. Now these instructions, of course, will work with a regular Oracle Autonomous database, either transaction processing or data warehouse, either one, but I like the always free one because it's free. I like free stuff. If you haven't already set up an always free Oracle account, you can go to oracle.com/cloud/free and sign up for an account. It will give you a 30-day free trial with some credits on there that you can then use and try out a bunch of different things. Once your free trial expires, you will be left with your always free assets, which includes two different autonomous databases and two different Oracle Compute instances, which are basically VMs on the cloud, and you can do whatever you'd like with those, and you can keep using those. They will always be free. So, of course, connecting to that database is going to be Liquibase. If you're not familiar with Liquibase, which you probably are by now, think of Liquibase as version control for your database schema. And it's an open source project. You can find the main page there at liquibase.org, and you can find the repository at github.com/liquibase. And thank you to Datical for maintaining such an awesome application. This is a really fun application. Now, before we get into how to make the connection, we do need to get the Oracle Wallet downloaded. So I'm going to switch into my cloud account here. And to get your wallet after you've set up your account, if you go in this little hamburger menu here on the side and you go down to either of the autonomous transaction databases, and you'll come into here. If you have not already set up an always free Oracle database, you can just click on this button here, fill in the information, check this, make sure this switch is selected, so you can get your so it'll limit it down to the always free configurations, and hit save or create down there, and that'll go off and create you a database. Of course, I've already created mine. I call mine demos. So when I go into the demos database, you can grab the wallet through this DB connection button right here. If you pull that down, before I download the wallet, I just want to point out here, it's going to come with a TNS names file that has some predefined service names that you can use to connect to this same database, but in different priorities, so to speak. So typically I do everything in TP, or transaction processing. I might use low once in a while. If you want to use something a little bit higher, like TP urgent, medium, or high, be aware that the other service names other than low and TP sometimes will enable parallel processing. Check out the documentation for what that means, but be aware that's one of the differences between some of these services. Anyway, with that out of the way, I'm going to click on the download wallet button, and this is going to ask for a password. So this password is for the zip file that you're about to download. This is not a password for a user. This is not your admin password. This is just for the zip file. Now, having said that, just to be confusing, mostly because I'm lazy, I have used the same password for my wallet file and for my admin password for my demos database. I know I'm bad, but I'm going to blow all this away when I'm done anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. But don't let that confuse you as I go through my examples. This password is just for the wallet. So once I've already downloaded the wallet, so let me switch over to here, and you can see I've created this directory called wallet, and in there's the zip file, and I've already extracted it. So these are the files that you will download in that zip file. All right, so back over to here and switch back to there. All right, so now that I've got the wallet downloaded and extracted, it's time to look at one of the ways to connect. So this is the old way that I used to always use to connect to my Liquibase, to my autonomous database. It is basically it's tried and true. This one has never failed me, except for when I do it wrong. Basically, I'm going to set up a Java ops environment variable. Now, I'm basing some of this on this other environment variable that I put in because I don't want to have to type in all of this stuff every time. So I create an environment variable that tells me where my wallet is located. My presentation directory environment variable that's based off of is simply because I do different presentations on different machines, and this way I don't have to modify all of my setup scripts. I can just run off an environment variable. I like environment variables. Anyway, so in Java Ops, you'll notice the Oracle Wallet environment variable used here in 3 different places. Make sure that points to your wallet directory. This is the actual directory. This will go to /trustStoreJKS, and this will go to KeyStoreJKS. In here, you'll see 2 passwords. These are the passwords for that zip file, not for a user. So both of these are the same. They go for the zip file. And then once that's set up, I can run Liquibase the old standard way of doing a java-jar, pass it in the Java ops environment variable that we set up there. Of course, passing in the driver class path, all of that kind of stuff that you would normally do. Or if you've set up Liquibase and added it to the path, you probably know that Liquibase comes with a shell script and or a batch file, depending on which operating system you're in, and you can just run Liquibase update SQL. And let's jump over and do that. All right, so I'm going to switch into the code directory, and then before I run the Liquibase command, I'm going to use SQLCL to run this little test script that this will just check to see if I set my wallet up correctly and all of my scripts or all of my things are set up. So I'm going to fire that off, and I'll come back to that script later to talk about it. But basically I ran a thing saying, did it work? Yes, I connected to my database. So that tells me that I set the wallet up correctly and everything's good to go. So now I'm going to switch into the old way directory, and I'm going to create those 2 environment variables. There is my wallet location. There's my Java ops variable. And since I'm using the batch file, or actually I'm on Linux, so since I'm using the shell script, the shell script will automatically look for that Java ops environment variable. So make sure it's uppercase and it's spelled just like that. And then you don't have to mess with it. Liquibase will just go find it. So from there, if I run update SQL, it will output my changelog, or the SQL that's generated from my changelog onto the screen, so you can see that that would work. And just to, whoa, way too far. Let's go, where was I? There we are. So just to show you that I'm not cheating, I'm going to just unset those 2 variables and run it again. And of course, this time it fails because I don't have the Java ops defined. All right, so the new way. So that's the old way. This is, of course, the new way. That's why I put that on the slide. This is following a tutorial that you can find at that URL right there. It's on the Liquibase website. If it's prominently featured on there. If not, you can search for it. If you haven't paused the video and come back to this later on, you can always hit me up on Twitter or send me an email and I'll send you the link. But basically, this is using a newer feature, and I'm going to use OJDBC 10 because I know OJDBC 10 always works this way for me. I've heard that you can use OJDBC 8, some of the later versions. I've not found one of the versions that works, but 10 has always worked for me. So let's jump over to there, and you can see here's the tutorial on the Liquibase site. And if you come down here, the prerequisites, I've already downloaded the wallet and extracted that. And now in the wallet, you're going to find an OJDBC properties file. You need to modify this file just a little bit. You're going to find a line that looks like this that is commented or not commented out, and 4 lines that look like this that are commented out. These will have little pointy brackets around them saying change your password. And so you'll need to comment that line out, uncomment these four, and put the password for the zip file in these two locations. So let's jump over to here, and I will just show you. There we go. This is what my file looks like. So this was the line that needed to be commented out. These four are uncommented, and put your password there. Very simple. Once I've done that, I should be able to make one more change in my Liquibase properties file, where in my URL connection string, I'll add in this TNS admin to path. Let me just pull that up on the slide so you can see in the red here. So this is the normal way that I would have set up a connection before. I'm adding this piece on, and this is the path to get to my wallet directory, not to the zip file, but to the directory. So adding that in, plus the change to OJDBC. Oh, I didn't switch over to the slide. There we go. Here's the slide. Sorry about that. Anyway, Liquibase properties file, the red line here, this is what I've added into the URL to basically let it know where the TNS admin stuff is. So then you don't have to go do all of that stuff with Java Ops. Just change that file and this file. And now we'll switch back over to, okay, make sure I'm on the right screen here. Go back over here, and I'm going to switch into the new directory. And I'm just going to run Liquibase update SQL with no environment variables. Just run it as it is. And there we go. It's set up the SQL for my database changes. And that's as simple as it is to connect. I really like the new way better. It's a little more tight, compact. I don't have to set up so many things. Less working pieces means less things for Blaine to break. But speaking of working pieces, probably one of the reasons you like to use Liquibase is you're more than likely including all of this stuff in a CI/CD pipeline, or at least some automation scripts. If you're like me, you like to automate things. And so let me show you the script. Let me show you the script that I use to set all of this up with. Okay, that's there. I'm going to put this smaller. Okay, so here's just a little shell script that I put together that will go out and it will set up a compartment ID. So I have already pre-installed the Oracle command line interface, the OCI CLI. If you want to see how to do that, when I go back to the slides, you'll see a link to my blog site. And on there, a recent post that I put up walks you through how to configure your cloud account so that you can use the CLI and then install the CLI. Once you have that in, you can do neat stuff like this. So I like to use a compartment for all of my stuff in the cloud. So I have a demo compartment that you can see. I'm going to minimize this. Where's the little magic button to make, oh, I guess I can push that button. There we go. I've created a compartment called demo. And in here, I keep all of my demo objects, my demo database, my demo compute instance. They all go in the same compartment. That way I don't step on my other projects and nobody else goes in and messes with my demo stuff. But I need to get the OCID, or basically the primary key, the main ID for that. And so this little command here is how I can pull that out as just a string, which I assign to an environment variable. Then using that environment variable, I go find my demos database that you can see here, and I get its ID because I'm going to need the ID. A little bit of a cleanup function here that gets rid of the wallet and gets rid of the test connect SQL file. Down here, I actually create the test connect SQL file. The reason I do this is because when I'm running things like SQL.cl or SQL Plus or other SQL tools, they can't always get to the environment variables that are outside of themselves. So instead, I just basically create a new SQL file as part of my script that has the directory already predefined. Because what you need to do when you connect with SQL.cl, the way you connect it to the cloud is you have to set cloud config and tell it where your wallet zip file is. Then you can make your connection to your database, and then you can select that did it work thing that I showed you before and pipe that out to a file. Then I will recreate that wallet directory that I deleted above, and then I will use another OCI command to generate my wallet. So this is going to download my wallet and save it in a file called walletdemos.zip. And then I will unzip that wallet into the directory that it's in. Now to make those changes to the OJDBC properties file, I just use the sed command, and this will go in and do some string substitution. And so I find that line that's the wallet location and I comment that out. Then I go find all 4 of those lines that look like this and I uncomment those lines. And then I go look for the 2 instances. This is what it would look like when you get the raw file where it says password from console, and I replace that with my password and rewrite that back out to the OJDBC file. And then I will run that when I initialize this presentation. Otherwise, if I want to run it for this part, so when I do that, I'll pass in a init. If I don't pass in a init, then it will run that SQL file and do the Liquibase update and then delete everything. So let's run that. Let's see, here we are. So I'm going to run that, and you can see down here in the output that it deleted the directory. Let's see, deleted the directory, deleted the script, downloaded the wallet, extracted the wallet, checked connected into SQL, ran my query. Yes, it works. So the wallet's good. And then I dropped out of there, and then I ran Liquibase to generate SQL, and there's all the SQL that it generated. So you can take something similar to this and set up a, maybe you can set up a shell script that not only gets a database ID, but maybe it generates a database from scratch, connect in with SQL, create your schema, exit out of that, run Liquibase to add all of your stuff into it. Maybe you want to use something like UTPL SQL to do all your tests. Everything passes, great. Maybe use Liquibase to generate the docs for your database, and then you drop the database and clean up all your stuff. So you could automate all of that stuff in a simple little shell script. All right, let's drop back over here. So that was a lot of stuff in a little bit of time. If you have questions that I don't answer for you, that I haven't answered already, then you can contact me. There's my email. There's my blog, learncodeshare.net. If you go into there, you'll find the post that walks you through how to set up the CLI. There's my Twitter, my YouTube, and of course my team site. So I hope you found this interesting, and thank you for sharing your time with me.